Hi, and welcome to Powerful Spiritual and Feminine Leadership. Create a life and business that you love and that is an authentic extension of you. Today, I'm so over the moon to introduce an inspiring, amazing woman, Atira Tan. Welcome, Atira.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
I have so much to say about your work, but basically Atira is a fervent devotee of the wild feminine, and she's been teaching spiritual feminine embodiment and leadership for more than a decade. So I'm just so honoured that you were able to join us for this event, Atira. And as a yoga and meditation teacher, sacred activist, and creative arts and somatic experiencing therapist, Atira has dedicated her life to women's empowerment and freedom in the field of sex slavery and exploitation in Asia. And I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that issue because I'm so passionate about women's rights. As the CEO and founder of Art to Healing and Yoga for Freedom, Atira has initiated international women's health, art therapy, and trauma-informed yoga programs for women and girls who have experienced sex slavery and exploitation internationally for the past 15 years. She teaches yoga workshops, amazing retreats in phenomenally gorgeous locations, and teacher trainings internationally. And she assists women, men, and children, particularly those who have suffered and experienced sexual abuse, in groups and individually in her private practice as an art therapist and somatic experiencing practitioner. So as an advocate for this idea that we need to stop intellectualizing and embody this work, Atira is your go-to person to consult. Also, Atira is a world traveller and seeker of truth. Her contribution to art, healing, women's health and art therapy programs have transformed the lives of thousands of women and children. And I just feel, the ripple effects of your healing. As you said, Atira, in your bio, this is reaching women in rural communities, brothels, slums in 8 countries in Asia and the Pacific. And as far as your passion for spreading inspiration and hope to all women, so that all women will be able to live in freedom, love, and power on this beautiful planet. You're the perfect guest for us to speak to today, to understand what happens when we actually step fully into our authenticity and we really express who we are. And how we create this life and business mindfully, yeah. So what really resonated strongly with me when we discussed you coming onto the show was this idea that at a certain stage of our development spiritually, there really is no separation between our spirituality and our actions, and they become one. Can you tell me and the listeners more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a yogi, I go back to the yogic kind of principles. I mean, the path of yoga is karma yoga. And a lot of us think about karma yoga like, oh, do karma yoga for a free yoga class. But really, karma yoga, which is the yoga of action, is a path, kind of a lost path to spiritual awakening. And this is the path that, I follow fervently. And what it means that it's that everything that we do in our life, like whether you're answering your emails or, you're working out, for example, a program that you're creating, everything that you do is actually a sacred, is something sacred and a vessel that you can pour your presence and your love and your grace and your devotion into. So in this path of kind of what I call kind of sacred activism, the action that we do, the container, the shape of the action, okay, every moment, every minute is actually an incredible opportunity where we can pour our loving kindness, our presence, our awareness into the act of doing. Yeah. And so therefore, everything that you do is I guess an offering to the divine. And what happens with that is that, in my experience within myself, the reason why sometimes we burn out is because we attach ourselves to the outcome. Yeah, we are so attached to the outcome that we sometimes forget about the process. And in this, path of karma yoga, fusing spirituality with action, it's like you're so involved in the process that the outcome becomes, it doesn't become irrelevant, but it becomes an offering to the divine, so that you let go of this sense of control, that you need to control everything, that you need to control the goals that you create, because that's actually the stress factor, is the goal that you're running towards. And in a way, it's a very masculine way of kind of achieving something. I'm going to climb the mountain and reach the zenith, and I'm going to put my flag, and in this different kind of approach, it's actually about, how are you mindfully walking up the mountain? How are you caressing the earth with your feet? How are you taking in the beauty that's around you? How are you giving back to the earth? Like all of that, all of each of those moments are precious moments. And then we reach the zenith, from one moment, living one moment to the next moment, enjoying each moment, rather than focusing like, oh my goodness, I have to reach the zenith. And then when you do reach the zenith, and you get, a lot of the time, like in my work with art to healing, in my business, it never turns out the way I plan it to be, ever. Yeah. And what I see is that I'm co-creating something with grace, with the divine. And even though it's not what I want it to be, it's actually sometimes even better. Yeah, even though in the moment it's like, oh no, it looks like it's bad, but actually it's an offering. It's an offering to life. It's an offering to God. And when we can, well, for me, when I can surrender that, what happens is a real kind of sense of gratitude, and joy for the opportunity of being in service to the world, to the opportunity of being so present and in a space of devotion and aliveness, with work and with action.
That's so powerful, so powerful. And what I'm hearing is this difference between this outcome-driven approach that we do. We're very conditioned by that in our Western world, and it's a masculine approach because it's a directed, outcome-driven, goals-driven world. The mainstream is very goals-driven, but a lot of women are waking up to this more process-oriented, thematic oriented experience of truth, and that when we're in the actual process itself, fully present to the process itself, that it unfolds within us. Yeah. And so tell me more about how you how this process driven, I shouldn't even use the word driven really, how this process beingness or this somatic beingness supports you to inhabit your body. So this idea that as women we're constantly being guided by our bodies, and the more we receive the messages from our body. Tell us more about that.
Okay, great. I am a huge believer of embodiment, especially because as women, I feel that we have a birthright to wisdom, and this wisdom is part of us. This is in our bodies, is in our cells, it's in our wombs, it's in our heart, it's in our breast, it's in our cycles. Yeah, it is right here. It's right here, this intelligence. The same intelligence that created us. Yeah, that gives women the incredible magic of gestating a baby. Yeah, this incredible intelligence which is breathing you, which is your kidneys, your liver is working miraculously without you even controlling it. Yeah, so this incredible force is our birthright, and it is so intelligent, beyond our thinking mind. And I feel that when we can, as women, tap into this creativity and this intelligence which is here in our bodies and not necessarily just our thinking mind, we have so much potential to create, to understand, to know, to do. We have, this is just infinite, limitless potential. And there is a saying in Indonesia that you don't actually know something unless you feel it in your bones. And I love that saying, because we might think that we know something, but until we get it in our bones, until we're fueled by this knowing in our body, we don't actually know until we know inside. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when, I can just tell you a story about this, one of the primary stories of how I started Art to Healing. Now, when I started Art to Healing, I had never worked in international development before. I didn't even know anything about sex trafficking. It's something that never occurred. Like, I never heard of sex trafficking before. Mm-hmm. And when I was in Cambodia, I saw, these girls on the street, and they were being sold into sex slavery on the street for for $3 or $4 US at that time. That was a long time ago. And I remember that I tuned into my body, and I just felt so angry and so sad and just extremely so devastated about what happened. And in response to that feeling in my body, every cell said, Atira, just give up everything. Just stay here. You've got nothing to lose. Just stay here, and you just stay with these girls and hang out with them and see what happens. You can't turn your back now that you know that this is happening in the world. And I said, okay, it was so strong, and everything else, like, there was no rationality to any of it, but I felt so drawn in my body, so alive, that that decision has changed my life ever since.
That's phenomenal.
So yeah, so this is the thing about embodiment, is number one, to have to take pause, to slow down, to listen to your body. Okay, I think that this is a step that many people choose to override, is the importance of taking pause. And for women, we have the incredible gift of our cycles that I don't think that a lot of women choose to respect and honor enough. But we are cyclical creatures. And part of our wisdom of our cycles is that there is time in our month to slow down and to really listen and to drop into the body. And so take time, slow down, listen to what is here. And yeah, there is so much wisdom, there's so much direction and intelligence when we can do that.
That's amazing also, because it means that every single woman on the planet has an equal footing as far as access to the deep bone wisdom goes, right? Because it doesn't matter where we are actually born in the world, we still all have access to this wisdom. So as far as breaking down those barriers of equality, how liberating is that, and the fact that you're teaching that to these girls who are benefiting from the power of understanding what it means to be present in their bodies. Tell us more about those women. How do they inspire you? What are the transformations you've seen in some of these women that you've worked with?
My goodness, I could go on and on for hours. You asked me a question that I could talk about for a long time. Look, the girls and the women that I work with are the most incredible human beings that I have ever, come across, and they are my constant inspiration to, points where I don't feel that I'm, supporting them. They actually, the things that I learn from them is just, far and beyond anything that I've ever given them. So, the thing that really touches me about the area of work that I work in sex slavery and exploitation is that, you know, when I met these girls for the first time in Cambodia, even though they were so, you know, in a way broken, I could see that they still had light. So that, I guess, what I see in these girls and these women that I work with is that there is a light within us all, that it doesn't matter what terrible experience, you know, you've had in your life. It's like there is this light that is always there, you know, it's always there. And what we want to do in Art to Healing is to kind of mirror back this light that we see, okay, that is past, you know, you pass the cobwebs of fear, past the cobwebs of trauma. There's this light that shines so brightly. And I have never met, you know, just incredible women that are so resilient, you know, that have mastered and cultivated the art of resilience to overcome just the most, the hardest of circumstance, and still to, it's not easy for them. Every moment is not easy for them. Yeah. But they walk this path with a lot of grace and a lot of acceptance, you know, and what is so beautiful about them is that even though they've had really hard lives, there is this incredible will and desire to help other women. So we do a lot of leadership training as well. So we basically support these women and girls to go and help other, you know, girls and women that are also sex trafficked or have experienced exploitation. And their commitment and their desire to do that has just been really, you know, just incredible. And I'm just, you know, always really touched and moved to tears. A couple of stories, you know, that I know of, that I want to share with you just very, very quickly. There's so many stories, but I know this amazing woman, and she actually was trafficked. She was sold into slavery when she was 13 years old. And she is a very incredibly, one of the strongest, most determined, most, I don't know, just so strong, so courageous and so strong, this woman. And she has HIV/AIDS because that's quite how do you say, common for, you know, girls that have been sold into slavery to have HIV/AIDS. And so she set up this incredible shelter for other trafficked women who have suffered from HIV/AIDS, so that they can have a place to sleep, they can have safety, they can have food, and they can have really, really good medical care, yeah, for HIV/AIDS. And this woman came to one of our programs, and she really came in kicking and screaming. Like, she was just like, I don't want to, blah, 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 you know, I don't want to come be, well, why am I doing here? And one of the programs that we run is a women's transformational program, where we teach women to really love themselves from the inside out. Yeah, to really reclaim back their relationship to their cycles, to reclaim back their relationships to their wombs, to this part, the reproductive part of their bodies that they have rejected, yeah, because of the amount of pain that they've been through. And so she went through the program, and at the end, you know, she said, I hate my body. You know, I hate my body because I have HIV/AIDS and terrible things happen to me in my body, to the point where I've been to the doctor so many times and I've begged him to take my womb out. I want a hysterectomy, and there's nothing wrong with me, but I just hate it and I want to take it out. And after I've done this program, I realized how important my reproductive organs are, how important it is to love my body, how incredible my body is. And now I want to say that I just love myself and I love my body, and I'm so happy that I didn't get a hysterectomy. And I am going to, you know, start practicing these self-care practices. And you know, and for me for a woman who have been through that, to say I love myself and I love myself, my body, you know, I know that you know, to be a woman, it is something to be valued. I know that I am equal to being a man. These are the kind of things that we're striving to support at Art to Healing. And for me to hear that from her is just, I don't know, it's like the clouds and the heavens parting and, you know, angels singing with a heart. So yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly inspired by this woman's story, and there's just thousands of these stories that I've heard and collected. So.
Absolutely phenomenal. And tell me more about how you create. So you've created this incredible, framework for healing, and these women are accessing a service that has come deep from your bone wisdom. You know this is part of your calling to offer this support. How have you kept going when things have been challenging for you on a personal level? So, you know, we know this road is not for the faint-hearted, this road of following our soul purpose and of really listening to that wisdom. Just because we hear it and we know the truth doesn't mean it's going to be easy, right? So what I'd love to know is how you've kept going when things are tough, and how you know which direction to keep moving your work and your reach in. Yeah.
So I think that the first thing, which is paramount and a foundation, is spiritual practice. You know, like this is really non-negotiable. Spiritual practice, whatever, you know, I think, so, you know, we do to be in connection to energy which is higher and bigger than ourselves, than our egos. Yeah. And I love this because, how do you say, I think that the path of yoga in action, you know, this karma yoga path, is an incredible way to surrender the ego. Okay, if part of, you know, the bigger why and the bigger so what is to be awakened and to, you know, let go of the ego, then this path is for for you. Because the moment the ego gets in the way, where we start to want to control, and when we get stressed because of outcomes or whatever, then then, you know, there is just so much stress, and then the burnout comes, and, you know, so on and so forth. But when we come from, for me, a place of grace and a place of, you know, being guided by spirit, the things that I think that I want doesn't happen, and it's just like, okay, you know, it's just this amazing lesson of surrender. Yeah, we just go, it's not flowing, we're not in the pure flow right now, and, you know, just kind of let it go and pray and reconnect to spirit again. So I guess for me, the most important thing for me that is being able to connect to spirit, whether it is through, you know, for me, it's through yoga and meditation, and being able to connect devotionally to action. Yeah, whether it's, yeah, as I kind of mentioned before, that's such a huge help, you know. And I think the thing that has really helped me is, it's also like this process of, as I mentioned, like the challenges that come, for sure, you know, and the challenges are there for a reason. The challenges are there so that your frequency can mold you. The challenges are there to, how to say, okay, it's like coal. Okay, so this process of coal turning into a diamond. Mm-hmm. We all want the diamond. Yeah, we all want to get to the place of the diamond where we can shine and we're worth like $10 million, right? But nobody wants to go into this process of the coal turning into the diamond, which is actually millennia of pressure. It's pressure from the environment that turns a coal into a diamond. Yes. And these challenges that we experience, I think, on the spiritual path, or whether it's like, through spirituality in action or whatever, these challenges are there to mold us from being a coal to being a diamond. Yeah. And they are really part of the process. Yeah. This is part of the process. They are there to teach us things like resilience, courage, tenacity, surrender, softening, vulnerability. All of these things we need to embody. We need to know it in the level of our cells and our bones, so that when we go out and when we do whatever we do, like for me, I'm working with sex slaves, I can step into the room and I embody those qualities, yeah, so that it is transmitted through my being. It's not about what I say, it's not about the programs or the techniques or whatever. Really, at the end of the day, what I do is a transmission, and if I don't embody what I'm teaching, then it's not going to work, and these challenges are part of that. They're part of helping us, their opportunities to help us embody the frequency that we are aiming to be, which is the diamond. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So when we go through challenges, I think we need to, for me now, sometimes I'm kicking and screaming, but most times I'm like, thank you, thank you for this opportunity. What is it that I'm learning? What is it that I'm cultivating right now? What is it that I need to refine within my karma so that I can be a living, walking embodiment of what spirit wants me to do in this world? Yeah, how can I be most of service to humanity? And, just trusting that whatever challenges you're going through is, it is there to raise your frequency to that level, so that when you step into that space, you are at ease and in flow with God, or with, life or existence or whatever. Because really with our work, I think as feminine leaders, it's not about us, it really is, I do believe that we're channels for something that's bigger than ourselves. And we need to refine our egos in order to be conduits of that. So
That's beautiful. And in this ego-driven, somewhat narcissistic world, this idea that we can break through the deep conditionings of our belief systems and the conditioning of the world around us, as well as women, and take this more internal journey where we're sensing a deep body wisdom. It's a path that's being embraced by more and more women. So it feels as though, you as a leader are at the coalface, literally, talking about coal, of, expanding our consciousness and our awareness about what's possible on the planet today. And there's this beautiful waking up that's happening amongst human beings. But women seem to be particularly tuning into this capacity to surrender and relinquish ego. What do you think makes us so much more attuned to that, being on the periphery, or being at the leadership edge or the coalface of this movement of consciousness waking up to itself on the planet today?
Well, I think that for women, like we've kind of, I think that women are such incredible creatures, because we have such a connection to, number one, our felt sense, yeah, and our intuition and our feeling body, and our connection to our emotions. And I feel that women are also naturally, they, have they're able to connect with each other, to share stories and to build sisterhood and to build a tribe. And I think that sense of community, and that sense of being able to be vulnerable, to shed these walls, that we put are huge, incredible gifts for the world, actually. really. So I think that, you know, women are realizing now that the masculine kind of goal-driven / outcome-driven way, it doesn't make them happy. You know, they can do it, but, you know, I don't know if it makes women happy. And now I think that women are saying, okay, that's not working. What is my way? Yeah, what is the way which is more authentic for me? And yeah, and so I think that it's a really exciting time.
And you have the most awesome freebie to offer our listeners at www.atira.tan.com/clarify-your-vision, and I'll be including that link for listeners to access. And that is all about clarifying your vision in this sense that you're speaking of, Atira, where we're really in that felt sense of what's true for us. Because, you know, when we look outside ourselves for those sorts of answers, we're often led astray and led to burnout and led to unsustainable practices. And this idea that you're offering a process that will support the clarity of vision is just so generous and kind of you. For more, I could talk to you for absolutely hours, and I really hope we get to again. You have other fantastic work that people can tune into, www.yogaforfreedom.org.au for all the information about Yoga for Freedom, www.arttohealing.org for your beautiful healing offerings. And what is one small parting piece of advice that you'd like to offer our listeners to give them strength and hope and to fortify them?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is to say that, you know, even though you might feel alone right now, you are not alone, you know, and, you know, just as I mentioned this thing about with the women, yeah, there is a light, I think, in all of us, which, you know, whatever experience you might be going through, whether you're disheartened or you're just feeling disappointed in yourself, there is this light inside which shines so strong, and it's this light which is connected to an energy which is bigger than you. So, you know, it might not feel like it right now if you're going through a difficult time, but, you know, to have faith and to trust that you have this light, and that, you know, yeah, that you are that there is nothing that can take away your sense of self-belief, you know. So my advice would be to cultivate, you know, that sense of self-belief, to be able to slow down, and, you know, if you're disheartened, just slow down and take a moment to regroup, to reconnect with that light that's within you, and to listen to the incredible whisperings of spirit, because spirit will guide you, yeah, to the next steps that you need to go. And sometimes you don't need to, you know, see, you know, 10 meters ahead. All you have to see is the 200, just 200 meters in front of you that you need to kind of go to it. So yeah, I think that would be my takeaway piece. You know, the world needs us to shine. We really do. The world needs us to be empowered, because we have the potential and the ability to help so many other women, you know. And I know that from my own experience, and I know that from the women that I work with. And they have nothing. They have come from incredibly remote, impoverished situations, and they are there in Nepal, India, Cambodia. They are making a difference for other people's lives. And I know deep down in my bones that it is possible. It's not easy, and it's not meant to be easy, because it's the process of turning coal into a diamond, but they can do it. I've seen them do it. I've done it, and I know that you can do it. So, yeah. So this is, if you feel that you are bogged down, think about all the women, the children, you know, men, the planet that are out there that need your gifts. You know, there's only one of you here on this planet, and we need you to shine. And the more you can do that, it gives other people permission to shine as well. So keep doing whatever you're doing. And if I'm really available to connect. So if people want to jump online to atiratan.com, you know, and connect to me with me on my business page or my website, you're so welcome to do that. Yeah, so that's my...
It's been an absolute pleasure and joy, and I just know that anyone on the verge of questioning if they're on the right path has been given some incredible alignment today from your powerful words. So I really want to thank you for for exploring this incredible topic with me. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm just kind of wondering if I could also share one to healing before we go. Absolutely. Very quickly. Cool. So if anyone's interested in art to healing, we're actually going back to Nepal in April. So if you like to, you know, be involved actually in this process, you can go online and donate, or go to our Facebook page. We're actually taking donations to help these girls and women in Nepal at the moment. So yeah. Feel free to pass this information on to people who are interested in helping. Helping them shed some light on this really vicious and terrible cycle of child sex slavery.
I have no doubt that there will be plenty of women listening who would be very, very interested in knowing where they can spread their support. So that's wonderful. Thank you. And we'll definitely go and check out those links, everybody. Namaste, Atira. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye.